Former President Barack Obama is opening up about his 2008 campaign and his time in the White House. He's been looking back while writing his memoir. It's called A Promised Land, and it comes out tomorrow. It includes blunt accounts of the challenges he faced in office. We sat down with President Obama for CBS Sunday Morning. He talked about his decision to run for president, the early years of the presidency, and his entrance on the national stage. That was back in 2004 when he was just a state senator from Illinois.
In no other country on earth is my story even possible.
Ted Kennedy said to you, "You don't choose the time chooses you."
Yeah.
So how did you know it was the time?
I didn't come from a political family. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I wasn't somebody who wanted to be president from an early age. When it sort of happened that I was in a position to run for president, it was pretty surprising to me. It was certainly surprising to Michelle. You know, we were coming out of the Democratic National Convention in Boston and the speech I gave.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
I think there was this convergence of the message I was delivering. It clicked in the electorate's mind so that by the time I announced, at least what I knew was that it wasn't a pipe dream.
A dream that launched Barack Obama on the course to make history as the first black president of the United States.
So help you God?
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
It's a trajectory he outlines in his new memoir, A Promised Land. The book offers unique insights of a young president with the ambition to enact change. But more than that, it includes the very candid reflections of a man who sometimes fell short of his own expectations.
It's in the nature of politics, and certainly the presidency, to go through rough patches. Times when, because of a boneheaded mistake, an unforeseen circumstance, a sound but unpopular decision, or a failure to communicate, the headlines turn sour and the public finds you wanting.
Do you have an example of a bonehead mistake that you made?
The one that comes to mind I'd write about is on the campaign trail, and I'm trying to make a point when asked about why would working class voters vote for the Republicans when it's against their economic interests. And I say, well, look, they've been disappointed. They see the economy shifting under their feet. They feel ignored, and so they cling to their guns.
Religion and their guns.
It was a classic example of where the intentions of what I had said didn't match up with the words right, but it had consequences because I think it despite all the policies I actually put in place to make sure that those folks felt heard, it became a barrier for me being able to reach them.
Given the current racial divide in this country, when you look back at your legacy when it comes to people of color, do you feel there's anything more you could have done?
There's no doubt that there's more I could have done, but I feel like that about just about every issue. The Affordable Care Act, when we passed it, 23 million people have health insurance that didn't have it before, many of those people of color.
And now it's in the Supreme Court right now as we speak. Are you concerned, worried about that? The Trump administration seems to actively want to undo everything that you have done.
Well, you know, I've gotten accustomed to that, but it turns out that the Affordable Care Act, now it's actually pretty popular. 10 years later, everybody says, oh, no, we don't want that to go away, including even some Republicans. So I think it will last.
You do.
I think we can build on it and make it even better. And so when I think about whether it's how much was I able to alleviate systemic racism or tackle climate change, across the board, I feel as if I fell short of what I wanted to get done. And I'd run through a good process with smart people and listen to every point of view before I made a decision. So I could always say, you know what, I made the best decision I could.
But there were certainly triumphs along the way, including the signature achievement, passing the Affordable Care Act.
Health insurance reform becomes law in the United States of America.
In fact, it inspired the president to make a personal promise about his own health. You talk about that moment where it passed, and there's a celebratory party at the White House. But there's a very poignant moment with you and Beau and a decision you made about smoking. What was that?
Well, first of all, Beau Obama, who is certainly more popular than me in our
Well, he's
house.
very cute.
Yeah, he's adorable. He's still around.
adorable.
And so he was a gift from Ted Kennedy.
Yes.
What you're referring also to be true is that I was still sneaking in cigarettes. I pledged that as soon as I got the Affordable Care Act passed that I would stop, mainly because Malia was now getting old enough that she had noticed, and I didn't want to lie to my daughter. So I said to myself, that's it.
And did you stop?
I did. I have not had one since.
President Obama is now enjoying life as a private citizen with his wife, Michelle, whose portrait hangs among the first ladies in the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. The couple has been very open about how their relationship changed after leaving the White House. You write in Promised Land that after you left the office, that you all were able to rediscover and recapture your love. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Suddenly it's, oh, we've got a lazy weekend. Let's just hang out. Part of it is also that the girls got older, right? There's the heartbreak of your chicks leaving the nest, but there's also, oh, they're not around. Well, we can do what we do.
Michelle Obama's book, by the way, over 12 million. Is there friendly,
I'm not
is there
competing
friendly
with-
competition
I'm not-
in the
I'm
house,
not- I'm
in the
not-
Obama house?
I've already waved the white flag on that. Come on now.
She tells a great story in her book. I call it the cheese toast story, where she said she was home by herself. She made cheese toast. We can all do that. And she sat out on the steps all by herself, just sort of savoring that moment. Yeah. Do you have a cheese toast story of your own?
You know, for me, I think it was probably me being in traffic, which hadn't happened for 8 years because the presidential motorcade doesn't hit traffic. So I'm driving along and I'm in the car in the back seat and I'm, I don't know, looking at my iPad or something. And suddenly we stop and I'm like, what's going on? There's a red light next to us. Some kids are, eating a burrito or something in the back seat. I was like, goodness, what? Oh, I'm back to life.
Welcome to the world, Mr.
Hey,
President.
I am happy to be back in it. No doubt about it.
A lot of people are happy he's back. People have been reaching out to me saying, they forgot about not forgot, but it was a reminder about the humanity and intelligence of Barack Obama. Yeah. And also Michelle Obama. They've talked very candidly about the White House and the effect that it had on her and their marriage. But let's remember, when she left the office, she was very emotional when she said being First Lady to all of us was the greatest honor of her life. And I know that she believes that that's true. Yeah. And their daughters, too. You look at their daughters, smart, thoughtful, kind, just really
it's a great family.
Human being.
I would love to pull up in traffic and look over and see the former president.
President, yes, exactly.
Oh, Tony, his other human cheese toast moment, I call it, was being able to go swimming in the ocean without a naval ship watching over you. You're just paddling around. So, yeah. Back to reality, sort of, kind of, because they're still traveling with heavy security, of course. You can see more of our interview with President Obama in a 1-hour special on BET, which is part of Viacom CBS. It airs tomorrow night at 8/7 Central, right the same day that A Promised Land drops. Did I mention it's over 7,000 pages?
It's a promised land for booksellers as well. They're looking forward to selling that page.
But it's well written, well done. He really takes you inside the room.
All right, stay with us.
It's only volume 1.
Yes, that's right.